Unit 3. Vocabulary and Speaking. Weather. Exercise 1.
Sunny, rainy, windy, snowy, stormy, cloudy, damp, icy, foggy, warm, wet, dry, thunder and lightning, blizzard, heatwave, hailstones.
Unit 3. Reading. A news report. Exercise 1.
Saved by an MP3 player. Sophie Frost, a schoolgirl from England, felt very lucky when her grandmother gave her an MP3 player as a present. She didn't know just how lucky she was, however. When an unexpected accident happened a few days later, the MP3 player probably saved her life. 14-year-old Sophie was going for a walk with her boyfriend Mason Billington when it started raining. The young couple took shelter from the rain under a tree and were sitting together when lightning struck. The lightning hit them both and they lost consciousness. Then Mason woke up and carried Sophie to the nearest road in order to get help. A car stopped and took them to hospital. Sophie had some burns on her chest and legs. She also had some damage to her eyes and ears, but fortunately she quickly recovered. How did Sophie's MP3 player prevent her from having serious injuries? When the accident happened, she wasn't listening to music on the player, but was wearing it around her neck. Doctors believe that the lightning travelled through the wire of the MP3 player instead of through Sophie's body. Even though she was lucky this time, one thing's for sure. The next time there's a storm, she and her boyfriend won't sit underneath a tree.
Did you know? Lightning can travel at 150,000 kilometers per second. Unit 3. Pronunciation Lab. Weak forms was and were. Exercise 1. 1,
Was he swimming?
2,
No, he wasn't. Yes, he was.
3,
I wasn't lying on my bed.
4,
They were talking to him.
Unit 3. Pronunciation Lab. Weak forms was and were. Exercise 3. 1,
Were you skiing? No, I wasn't.
2,
We weren't listening to her.
3,
She was ice skating.
4,
They were riding their bikes.
Unit 3. Vocabulary and Listening. Natural disasters. Exercise 1.
Volcano, earthquake, avalanche, hurricane, flood, Wildfire. Tornado. Tsunami. Landslide. Drought. Famine.
Unit 3. Vocabulary and Listening. Natural disasters. Exercise 2.
A hurricane is a storm with very strong winds. An avalanche is a large amount of snow which falls down a mountain. A wildfire happens in hot weather when an area of forest is very dry. A flood happens when it rains a lot. A volcano is a mountain that erupts and releases hot liquid. An earthquake makes the ground move. A tsunami is a very big sea wave. A drought happens when there isn't enough rain. A tornado is a very strong wind that goes round and round.
Unit 3. Vocabulary and Listening. A TV programme. Exercise 5.
Hello, and welcome to Mysteries of the Earth. This week we're talking about natural disasters. Did you know that there are some areas of the world where more natural disasters happen than others? For example, 75% of volcanoes are in the countries on the Pacific Ocean, like Japan and New Zealand. Most of the world's big earthquakes also happen here, and the USA has more tornadoes than any other country, over 1,000 a year. Some natural disasters happen more often than you think. For example, there's actually one earthquake every 30 seconds somewhere in the world. That's 2 a minute. However, most of these earthquakes are so small that we can't feel them. Unfortunately, sometimes one disaster can cause another one. For example, a tsunami sometimes happens after there is an earthquake in the middle of the sea. And a wildfire on a mountain can sometimes cause a landslide. We know that trees can stop landslides happening. That's because trees help to keep the earth in place. But when there aren't any trees, the earth can move more easily, and it can come crashing down onto a town or city. The big problem with many natural disasters is that nobody knows when they will happen. However, some people believe that animals can feel when a disaster is about to occur. There are many stories about animals behaving unusually just before a volcano or an earthquake. Dogs cry and birds stop singing, for example. Why does this happen? Who knows? Maybe they have a special ability which human beings don't have, to understand how nature works.
Unit 3. Cultural Awareness. A natural disaster in New Zealand. Exercise 2. Earthquake in Christchurch. A few years ago, a terrible earthquake happened in the city of Christchurch in New Zealand. It killed 185 people, but Jay Watson had a lucky escape. What were you doing when the earthquake happened?
I wasn't at school that day because I was sick. I was sitting on my bed when I heard a terrible noise and the whole house started shaking.
What did you do?
I realised it was an earthquake, so I quickly got down on the floor between my bed and the wall. I thought that was the safest place. At school, we often have earthquake drills, so we know what to do in an emergency.
What happened next?
Suddenly, the wall of my bedroom collapsed and I fell out of the house. I fell about 10 metres from the second floor of the house into the front garden.
Were you hurt?
At first, I thought I was seriously injured, but I actually only had a few scratches and bruises on my back. I was really lucky.
How did you feel?
Scared. And not just because of the fall. Lots of bricks fell on top of me while I was lying on the ground. Our next-door neighbour, who was a firefighter, pulled me out from under the bricks. My mum couldn't believe that I was alive.
How did your life change because of the earthquake?
Well, we had to move to a new house because there was so much damage to our old one. It's in a different area, but I still go to the same school. And it's only got one floor, so I feel a bit safer.
Unit 3. Grammar in Context. Famous disasters. Exercise 6. Dinosaurs were living on Earth when they suddenly disappeared. Many scientists believe that a natural disaster killed them. How many years ago did it happen? A. 5 million.
B. 15 million.
C. 65 million.
The answer is C. It happened 65 million years ago. In the year 79 AD, there was a terrible volcanic eruption near an Italian city. Many people were trying to escape when they died. Where was it? A. Rome.
B. Pompeii.
C. Venice.
The answer is B. The volcano was near Pompeii. In September of this year, London was burning. The fire started by accident, and it quickly destroyed large areas of the city. What was the year? A. 1444.
B. 1555.
C. 1666.
The answer is C. The Great Fire of London was in 1666. On the 1st of November, 1755, a terrible disaster destroyed the beautiful city of Lisbon in Portugal. However, the people rebuilt their city and made it beautiful again. What was the disaster? A. An earthquake.
B. A tornado.
C. A flood.
The answer is A. There was a terrible earthquake in Lisbon. On the 15th of April 1912, a ship was crossing the Atlantic Ocean to the USA when it suddenly hit an iceberg. The ship sank. What was the ship's name? A. The Golden Hind.
B. The Titanic.
C. The Santa Maria.
The answer is B. The ship was called the Titanic.
Unit 3. Integrated Skills. In the news. Exercise 3.
Today, it is very cold in Scotland, the north and south of England, and in Wales. Snow is falling, and there is deep snow lying in some parts of the country. It is more than 1.5 meters deep in some places. There are blizzards in the south of England. The heavy snow has made conditions on the roads very dangerous, and many trains are not running. Some roads are blocked by snow, while other roads are very icy. The police have asked people not to travel by car if their journey isn't important. 20 people spent the night in a local sports centre when blizzards on the M25 motorway closed the road. The weather will get better tomorrow, but it will remain very cold until the weekend.
Unit 3. Integrated Skills. Reacting to News. Exercise 5.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi, Chris. Guess what happened last night during the storm?
I don't know. What happened?
Well, I was watching TV when I heard a loud noise.
What was it?
A huge tree fell down in our street. It fell in our garden.
No way! That's terrible news. Was anybody hurt?
No. Luckily, everybody was okay. We were all inside because of the awful weather.
Great. I'm really pleased about that.
Well, I've got some good news too. A reporter from the local TV station came and interviewed us about what happened. I'm going to be on TV tonight.
Wow! That's amazing. I'm definitely going to watch it.
Unit 3. Writing. A fictional narrative. Exercise 1.
Lost. One day, my friend Rosie and I decided to go for a walk in the mountains. The sun was shining when we set off, but later the weather changed. It was very foggy, and we couldn't see where we were going. Soon we were lost. We didn't know what to do. Then I remembered I had my mobile phone in my bag. I tried to phone my dad, but my phone wasn't working. By then, it was getting dark, and we were cold and frightened. Suddenly, we heard the sound of a helicopter. We couldn't believe our luck. It was coming to rescue us. Everything was all right in the end, but we learned our lesson. Next time, we'll check the weather forecast before we go for a walk in the mountains.
Collaborative Project 1. Giving a talk. Exercise 3.
Okay, so we decided to do a talk about Sally Ride, the astronaut who was the first American woman in space. We are all looking for information. Should I take all the facts and write a plan? Then I can write the overview too.
We have to participate equally. We can all write a plan. Sonia, you can check the facts, and then I can organize the information.
I can write the overview, find photos and quotes, and look for a good video clip.
But we are not giving a PowerPoint presentation. We can't show a video clip.
What about putting the video clip on a DVD? We can use a projector for the photos.
So we need a DVD player and a projector. I'm not sure. I think that's too much equipment.
But we want the talk to be creative and interesting.
Wait a minute. We don't need lots of equipment to make the talk interesting.
That's true. We can make a poster with the photos and quotes, and write the overview on the board.
I've got an idea. Instead of a video clip, we can write an interview with Sally Ride and act it out. What do you think?
That's brilliant. And what about writing a quiz? We can divide the class into teams and give them a photocopy of the questions. They listen to the talk and then answer the questions.
Yes, I love that idea. We can have a prize for the best team. Do you agree?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. So our talk includes an interview, a photo with quotes and a fun quiz.
And we only need the board and some photocopies. We don't need any other equipment.
Okay, so shall we write the plan?